What happens after the body dies and you go on into the next life? How can you have experiences in the next life without your body that's lying dead someplace on earth? And where is the next life? In this video, I explain what we have learned about what happens to us after the body dies, from statements made by people who've made the transition, speaking through mediums and others who communicate with people in the next life. Hello, I'm Dr. R. Craig Hogan, President of the Afterlife Research and Education Institute and Seek Reality Online. I'm the author of 8 books with the evidence you will come to the end of this life, but you will never die. Today we have many hundreds of thousands of clear, detailed messages from people now living in the afterlife about what happened to them after their bodies died. They've gone on to a world that is very much like the earth world. In this video, I explain how that can be true. How can we have a new body when our old body is lying insensate in a cemetery plot or a mausoleum? Let's begin with the fact that you must change your perspective. In this life and the next, there is nothing but our minds and the experiences we're having in our minds. We're dreaming the same dream together. There is no physical world outside of us. We change experiences by changing what we're attending to. When we see a waterfall, we're having the experience of the sight and sound of a waterfall in our minds. But there is no physical waterfall with its roaring and cascading water outside of us. I'll explain more fully what I mean. Imagine you're looking at a waterfall. You have the experience of hearing and seeing the water cascading. Imagine you close your eyes and you recall the waterfall. You see it and hear it clearly. It's the same experience as when your eyes were open, but without reference to something outside of you. Imagine you have a dream that night of the waterfall. You see it and hear it clearly as you did when you were standing before it. You're having the experience of a waterfall when your eyes are closed, when you're dreaming, and when you're standing before the waterfall. All are experiences only. None requires a waterfall outside of you. Others standing with you will have the same experience, but it's only because our minds are one. We're dreaming the same dream together. When we all turn from seeing the waterfall to looking at the forest behind us, we all just change our perspective. So we're all experiencing the sights of trees, the sounds of birds, and the smells of the forest. But as in a dream, we're all just having the experiences together in our minds. And our minds are one with the source, our universal intelligence. So we have the same experiences in our minds together. We're not receiving photons and sounds from a physical world outside of us. And when we go from Earth to the next realm, we just change our perspective, like turning around from a waterfall to see a forest. We're not being transported to another realm, like flying from one country to another. It is just a change of perspective in our minds. We don't go to the afterlife. We change our mind's perspective to focus on the world of the afterlife, just as right now we're focusing on the earth world. What is the proof we have only our minds and the experiences in our minds without requiring a world without us? First, even neuroscience tells us that we know only the activities of our minds, not whether there is a world outside of us stimulating the activities. Neuroscientists tell us that we have experiences created by the brain's firing brain cells in a combination that we identify as something: a house, a dog, a sunset, a waterfall. When we have unique sets of neurons firing in the future, the neuroscientists say, we identify one set of firings as a dog, one as a sunset, and another as a waterfall. If these things are outside of us, neuroscientists tell us, we can never prove it. We have only the firings of neurons that give rise to the experiences. As molecular biologist Francis Crick exclaimed, "You are nothing but a pack of neurons." You can know nothing outside of your neurons, the neuroscientist says. Seek Reality and the many others who have learned the basic nature of our minds today are called idealists. We are saying the same thing as neuroscience about our minds. We can know only our minds and the experiences in our minds. Just as Francis Crick says, we can know only the results of neurons firing. The difference between the statements by neuroscientists and the idealists that we are in Seek Reality Online is in the source of the experiences. The neuroscientist asserts that the source is a physical realm that we can never know because we know only the firings of neurons. The idealist asserts that the source is our universal intelligence with no physical realm outside of us. The experiences in the realm of the mind are the same. Only the explanation of the source is different. Idealism, meaning that we are understanding that there is only mind and experiences, and neuroscience both assert that we can't know the physical realm outside of us, even if there were one. We're saying there is none. There is only our mind and experiences. We have other proof we have only our minds and experiences in our minds. When someone has a near-death experience during a trauma in a hospital, they often describe going out of their bodies and wandering around the hospital or rising above the hospital. As they wander, they hear conversations from people far removed from the person's body, and they see things clearly. Pam Reynolds' well-known case has been confirmed by doctors who operated on her. Pam was put into a state of hypothermic cardiac arrest. Her body temperature was lowered to 60 degrees. Her heartbeat and breathing were stopped, and her blood was drained from her head. Her brain waves flattened, showing no brain activity. In spite of being in a physically dead state, after which she was resuscitated, she gave remarkable, accurate, detailed descriptions of the surgical procedure. She reported that someone in the operating room said something about her arteries being small, and she described the Midas Rex bone saw as looking like an electric toothbrush, having interchangeable blades and a high-pitched whirring sound. She correctly reported what the nurse said about her arteries being small, and even noticed that her anesthesiologist had on different colored socks that day. She said that during the experience, she saw with a vision that was brighter and more focused and clearer than normal vision. But her body was clinically dead. Her doctors thought at first her description of the Midas Rex bone saw was incorrect. But when they checked, they discovered that the surgeons were using an older version she correctly described in detail. Pam Reynolds' experience shows people have clear sight and sound experiences without using the body. They remember what was happening, even though their brains were comatose. In two other separate experiences, two women were transported to hospitals in trauma that left them unconscious and incapacitated. After they were revived, each described different tennis shoes that had been thrown onto window ledges of the hospital by mischievous children. When the hospital staff checked for the tennis shoes, they found them in exactly the positions and with the characteristics the women described. Their minds were having experiences far from their bodies. Our minds are not in our bodies. Our bodies are in our minds. There are many other reports of people having experiences without using their sensory organs or brains. People have had out-of-body experiences in which their minds travel to distant locations. There they witness what is happening. Remote viewers can sit in one location and experience sights, sounds, smells, tastes, and touches of things thousands of miles away. The eyes and the brain are not involved. This is an example of my own remote viewing. I closed my eyes to look at an unknown object thousands of miles away. I had the experience of seeing this, which I sketched. When the person at the location sent a picture of what was at the location, this is what they sent. This is another example. What I sketched is on the left. And another. All of this evidence demonstrates that people have experiences without using the body and without using the brain. The reason is that we have experiences in our minds without reference to a world outside of us. When we change focus to the afterlife realm, it is as real and substantial as this realm. The afterlife isn't a world of thought only. It's just the same as the earth plane. People must get past thinking that the afterlife is a world of spirit, with individuals floating around like wisps of smoke. The afterlife realm is just as solid and just as real as earth. People arriving sometimes remark they didn't even realize they've transitioned into the next life because the world is just like this one. It is just a change of focus, like changing from remembering a waterfall to remembering a forest, or seeing a waterfall or seeing a forest. Nothing disappears when you remember something else. The images of the waterfall and the forest are both in your mind. You're just focusing on one or the other. So when you aren't focusing on something, it is just a potential. Appearing and disappearing happen only in our consciousness. We're sharing this dream together. So when we change perspective together, we have the same experiences. Then where is the afterlife? It is here, now, not there, in the future. When we leave the body, we change focus to the afterlife realm. And we communicate with loved ones by changing our mind's focus to them who are living in the afterlife. When we stop using the body to focus on this world, we just change our focus to the afterlife world, where we will have experiences in the mind just as we have experiences in the mind on earth. Our eternal consciousness is all there is to life. That is why we can leave the body behind and continue to the next life with hardly noticeable changes in our senses. We will all live on after the body dies in a new focus together. We will always be one with each other in our minds. We just assumed different identities and seem to have different perspectives so we can increase our love, compassion, and have exciting experiences and enjoy being together. We see separation on earth because of our perspective, but we are not separate, and we will never be separated from the people we love.